All right, Quantum FT, of course, coming back to you with another Apex Legends video. Now, let's get right into some Apex Legends lore on why Bloodhound hates Pathfinder and Bloodhound's Raven hates Pathfinder too. I've been getting much more into the lore of Apex Legends simply because of how in-depth it really goes and how interesting it really is. There's so many intertwined stories in Apex. They cross paths and mean different things. It's hard not to be drawn into the Apex lore. Now, this is a special video because we've got a special guest on the Apex Legends SquadCast podcast episode 6 this week, Chris Edgerly, the voice of Pathfinder. That's right, the voice of Pathfinder. Not only do we discuss and ask questions to Chris Edgerly, literally Pathfinder, about Apex, but we talk about Gibraltar nerfs and buffs, as well as the lore behind the beef that Bloodhound has with Pathfinder, and much more that I'm going to be teasing in this video. If you don't know much about Apex lore, here's a quick clip right now of Pathfinder fighting off Bloodhound's Raven. Yeah, you can definitely tell that they have beef. Real quick, comment down below your favorite legend in Apex. I'll reply to all comments. I'm going to be playing a couple of clips from the SquadCast podcast, which of course is linked down in the description below. Make sure to go ahead and subscribe to the SquadCast channel and go watch the entire episode, because trust me, it definitely has some hidden gems in there that aren't just in this video. In my opinion, it's our best one yet. Roll the clips.
I actually had a question submitted by someone named Frozen Fro. I don't know if you've ever heard of him. He was in your stream today. He is huge in the Apex community.
He just followed. Yeah, I think he just followed today.
Yeah, he runs Apex lore on Reddit, and he is big time in the lore. And he submitted a question for us to ask you. He wants to know, why do you think Bloodhound's Raven hates Pathfinder so much? Does it have something to do? Does it have something against robots? And do you think Arthur is the only thing Pathfinder hates?
That's a good question, because Pathfinder has that emote where Arthur comes in and like attacks him while he's flying down. That's probably one of my favorite emotes.
Yeah, you know, it's a good question too, because I even talked to Allegra Clark about that, who does Bloodhound. When I interviewed her, we talked about, you know, like, why does, of course, the way she phrased it is, why does Pathfinder hate my Raven? I thought, well, I'm not going to like anything that dives at my head as I'm jumping into battle. So I'm, you know, you kind of get on the wrong side of me if you do that. But I have absolutely no idea. Maybe the animal suddenly senses something in Pathfinder that it just doesn't trust, or maybe it just doesn't like robots. I wish I knew, but again, I think it's funny. I think it's funny that anyone has a strong reaction towards Pathfinder to begin with, because it's just going to bounce off him. It's not going to register with him at all. It will not change his programming one single bit.
Yeah, he's literally a robot.
Yeah, that's his wiring, and it ain't going to change. So it's funny that I guess he sort of becomes a mirror for a person. It just sort of reflects who they are and how they respond to him.
So another question that I had before we go, we know that there's been a lot of changes to the characters. We've seen that Gibby has been buffed, and we've seen that Wraith has been nerfed. Are there any changes, or do you even have opinions on those changes? Any changes you think should be made? I'm just curious, do you think some characters are maybe too powerful? Just give the viewer some ideas of what your personal thoughts are on the game right now, and the characters, the meta, all that stuff.
Sure. It was funny because I just interviewed Branscombe Richmond, who does Gibraltar's voice, and Branscombe doesn't play the game. He tried it once. He says, I tried it, but I'm just no good at it. And he's got grandkids anyway. He doesn't really have time to play games. But I told him, your character, in my opinion, is too powerful in this game, Branscombe. And he thought that was funny. I said, yeah, every time I get into a one-on-one against Gibraltar, I know I'm going to lose. I'm going to lose. His shield is impenetrable. I'll do all this damage to him, and I'll die, and then I'll see the death recap and think, I didn't even hit him. I didn't even get through. and now apparently he's even stronger. So I look, nobody listens to me anyway, so I could say, oh, please don't buff Gibraltar so much, but they did it for whatever reason. They don't do these things by accident, and so I figure, okay, well, I'm gonna have to get better. But
that's a good way to look at it.
Yeah, exactly. It's like, okay, look, if you think they buffed this character too much, we'll either start taking them or get better. I don't know. I mean, that's about the only thing it's my only advice for myself is whatever they do to change the game, fine by me. I'll find a way to work within those boundaries. It's something that they do not do capriciously. They plan this stuff just like any company would. They don't just roll the dice and say, I wonder how this is going to go over. I think that they put a lot of thought into these changes. And yeah, I guess some people are going to like them, some people aren't, but that's the game. It's free to play. I like to remind people of that.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, now I know a lot of people have spent a lot of money. They put a lot of money into the game, which I'm very thankful they did, because the game cannot continue to exist without people spending their money.
Right.
And I feel like, yeah, if you're going to support the game in that way, obviously everyone's going to right to their opinion about how the game should flow. But ultimately it's Respawn's game, and I'm cool with whatever they happen to do with it, because I'll just roll with it.
Boy, was that crazy. Make sure to check out the full episode over on the SquadCast podcast channel linked below. This video's notification squad goes out to Yukon. If you want next vids shout out, all you guys got to do is comment Noti Squad or Notification Squad. If you're new, subscribe and turn your bells on to stay up to date on all things Apex Legends. As you can see, over 90% of people who watch my vids aren't subs, so if you guys are new, make sure to hit that sub button, as well as click like if you did enjoy the video. It's been Quantum FT or Caleb, and I'm out. Peace.